Give me a second. I need to call Florence and I need to make sure that she is okay because I know after carrying this movie, her back has got to be hurting. In the 1950s, Alice and Jack live in the idyllic community of Victory, an experimental company town that houses the families of the men who work on a top secret project. Alice soon begins to worry that the company her husband works for could be hiding a disturbing secret. I will say right off the bat that I really enjoyed what this movie brought to the table. Now I know you're asking yourself, what did it bring to the table? Miss Florence Pugh. That's it. I am not going to recap the drama surrounding the movie's cast and its director because let's be real, that's not what I'm here to do, but I do encourage you to do your own research if you're not familiar with the tea. All of that said, I will admit that it was a little bit difficult for me to separate like the movie viewing experience from the real life drama. Now, all of that drama aside, I will say that the movie is really good, but struggled at times to remain steadfast with all of the drama and gossip weighing it down. The movie is surreal and lush. It looks rich and full in every single scene. One thing that stood out to me that I really enjoyed tonally from the film is the synchronicity throughout. It really goes from being soothing and harmonious to turning into something oppressive and eerie. Another thing that stood out to me to add to that feeling of unease is the fact that the movie actually cut in images into scenes in it was very blink and you miss it moments that I really enjoyed. Amplifying all of that is the music that really stood out in every scene. The movie looked really good throughout and was a real visual treat that really pays off in the end when you think about the movie as a whole. Diving right into the acting, I want to talk about Chris Pine as Frank. He did such a great job with the time he had on screen and was a real looming presence throughout. The scenes he had with Florence were the real highlight though. Despite the drama, Olivia Wilde as Bunny was engaging and really brought layers to the character, especially toward the end of the film. Harry Styles as Jack. Where do we start? He was absent in the role, but I will say that some of the lines he delivered when he was yelling were believable, but everything else was flat and vacant. The role should have gone to an actor with a more commanding presence who wouldn't be rendered non-existent next to Florence Pugh's performance. Speaking of the best aspect of this movie, Florence Pugh as Alice, incredible. Florence unsurprisingly delivered an exceptional performance. She was delightful as the 1950s housewife, agreeable and doting, but when things start to feel wrong, Florence brought so much force to her performance. She brought so much to the character and to the movie from start to finish. If you need a reason to see this movie, let it be her. So, I watched it so you don't have to, but was it worth the watch? For Florence, yes, absolutely. I am serious about that, but on a serious note, more about the movie, I really liked the movie. I really enjoyed the plot and trying to figure out where it was going. The movie looked amazing in terms of sets, costume, and cinematography. The acting was solid from everyone except for one person in particular, but because he had quite a bit of screen time, quite a bit of the movie was dragged down. If you've been here for a while, then you know I don't mind a long movie, but 2 hours and 3 minutes might be a bit much for some people, and I will say that the movie does feel like 2 hours. Don't Worry Darling introduces an abundant world that delivers on unease, sinister secrets, and gives you interesting things to think about when the credits start rolling, but it struggles to answer all the questions it raises in that time. On a side note, I will say there was a lot of sexy time on screen, and for me personally, I just don't care for it if it's not serving the plot, and in this movie, it was, like I said, quite a bit, and you didn't really, by the end, it made sense, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine, but while it was happening, I was like, All right, that brings us to the end of the video where I watched it so you don't have to. Leave a thumbs up on the video if you like the video so I know you liked the video. Comment down below, what's your favorite Florence Pugh movie? Because we love her so much. I think the first movie that I saw her in was Midsommar. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen that movie, it's so good. It's so good. And her acting in that movie, I'm convinced every role she's in, she's just spectacular. She's just stellar. While you're down there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next movie that I'm going to be watching for you. But until the next video, spread positivity, be safe, take care of yourself, and do not let anyone gaslight you. Bye.